has been a part of our community for many years, and is from India, from Bangalore and Kolkata. No? Yes? So everyone give a hand for Suman Sasma.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Buenas tardes, namaste, and good afternoon. How are you guys doing? ¿Cómo estás? How are you Barcelona? Good? Alright. You're about to find your purpose. How many of you have really found out that elusive toughest part in Barcelona? Through the winding streets, and then you run across some dead ends, and then you take some turns when you are lost, and then you finally get a bar that kind of fills your heart with joy and it nourishes your soul. Finding a purpose can be almost like that. It can be as elusive as finding that right purpose path. Well, I mean, this is who I am. I found my purpose, you won't believe, all the way out here in Madrid. 5 years ago, I was in Madrid, and at the same time as today. And when I joined part of VMSO community, I found my purpose, which is leave no individual behind. And this is who I was before. 30 years of great experience, global experience, technology services, all of that. And then finally, the last 5+ years, and maybe after finding my purpose, after I found my purpose, I'm trying to do my bit one step at a time through the multiplier effects that I create by, catching up with startups, mentoring them, helping legacy companies turn around, find their own purposes, coaching them, and so on and so on. Now, this is all about me, the rest is all about you. Just to check on the readiness of you guys, let's take these few questions. How many of you, by raising your hands, you believe that you are out there to make a big difference, and you believe that is much more important than making more money? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. All right, majority believes that making a big difference is much more important than making more money. All right, the second one. How many of you would rather be happier than just be successful? Raise your hands, please. And successful, happy and successful, but premium is more than being happy, right? And the last one, it's all about, we all believe in, of course, giving and getting. But to you, giving is more important than getting. Raise your hands, please. All right, I think this group is really ready to receive how to find your purpose, because these are the 3 foundation pillars on which you will have the sense of purpose coming through, and we'll look at that. So, business is all about, and when I say business, it doesn't have to be business to make money. It can be social business, it can be social for-profit, social not-for-profit, commercial enterprise, an institution, academic, government, whatever. It's all about solving a problem. If you don't solve a problem, it doesn't exist, right? So, if that is so, then this is very mathematical. Bigger the problem, bigger the opportunity, right? And as I love to say, if it's an eye-watering problem, it is a mouth-watering opportunity. How can we figure out those eye-watering problems? And if we found one, it can potentially be a mouth-watering opportunity. The world is full of problems. Who is not familiar with clean water, clean energy, inequality, climate change, all of that problems that is clouding us out every day. And today, fortunately, there is hope, because we have folks who are purpose-driven, highly purpose-driven, who are addressing these challenges in a very, very practical way, who have really found their purpose. And this is something I would say that their purpose is really all about chasing a meaningful problem, a large problem. So the starting point of purpose is all about finding a large problem, right? And this, in some ways, you would have found out these terms, ikigai and raison d'etre and so on, pretty much same, but not exactly, because you will find that in purpose, there's a much bigger focus in solving a problem. It's not just about doing something that you love to do. Of course, it starts there, but it doesn't end there. The starting point here, it's all about solving a large problem, and which will really help you finding your own purpose. Yeah. So let's look back at some of the learnings from a great fable. Go back to England, the Great Fire of 1666, which pretty much ravaged the entire city of London, and they were rebuilding that. Sir Christopher Wren was entrusted with rebuilding some of the key sites, including some of the famous churches and so on. So here is the story how it goes. When Sir Christopher Wren was walking by the sites of St. Paul's Cathedral being rebuilt, which is a fantastic site today in London, those who are familiar with it, he came across three workers. And the first one of them, the worker A, he asked a simple question. Hey, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm laying bricks. Fair enough. Just stoopingly, he just said, looking at the big man, I'm laying bricks. Fair enough. The same question he asked the second guy, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm building a wall. He's a little more excited than the first guy. And he said, I'm building a wall. Excellent. Same question to the third guy, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm building one of the best cathedrals in the world, and millions of visitors of those days, thousands of visitors are going to come and appreciate the beauty of it. I'm so happy that I'm being part of it, and I'm doing my bit. Who of these three folks you think is the happier of the three and more productive of the three? Raise your hands. A. Anyone who thinks A? B? C? So the reason is very clear, right? He knows the big picture, what's really happening. It is aligned with something that he cares for, something that is really happening around. And that is the why of something is being done. So that at a very fundamental level, today when we look at the big picture, the big pyramid, the Maslow's hierarchy, which we are all familiar with, the industrial age was all about the vision, the big thing that we want to achieve. That was the source of motivation. That was the inspiration. When I joined the workforce about 36 plus years ago, it was all about, am I working for a company which is the biggest or the best or the most profitable or the most reputed or the most respected? Yes, it was, and it was a source of great motivation. But today it is all about, is it aligned with what I really stand for mentally? I'm looking for more meanings in my life. I think that has become fundamental to finding my happiness. And people are looking for more happiness. It doesn't matter whether I'm the biggest or the most profitable. Of course, we got to be profitable to be sustainable enough and so on, but it is all about something that helps me find more meaning in the life. Yeah? So purpose really works as a force multiplier, as I say. If you follow this, you could be both happy and successful, you could be making money at the same time you are making a big impact in the world, and all of that stuff that come together. I think that is the fundamental truth behind why purpose is important. So that's the first section that I wanted to cover, why purpose is important. Before I move on to the second section, how is purpose becoming center stage of everything that we do? Whether it's business or not business, any institution, anything that we do, that is like the center stage. I mean, so far, you will see post the conversation, you will appreciate that we were putting pretty much the cart before the wheel. But today, I think we have come to a stage where finally the horse really is before the cart, right? All right. So, the reason is pretty much, I would say, it's rooted in science. It's not psychology. It's not mental, it's not neuroscience. I mean, it's really, of course, the fundamental structure of a brain, if you really look at. There are three constructs to the brain at very macro level. The innermost is amygdala, which is millions of years old. That was the only part of the brain that was there when we were cavemen, cave dwellers. So that is amygdala. Then the second part is the limbic system, which is something we got as a course of evolution with the mammals have it. The reason why we cry, the emotional part of it, smile, we love each other, and so on, which is there in the mammals, human beings, and so on. And the last part is neocortex, which gives us that logical ability with the primates and the human beings. The reason why we say that A plus B is greater than C, and so on. Now, the point is, we think we are human beings, we are logical. And so, therefore, if you look at business, there's a big mismatch between what science knows and what business does. What I mean by that is, many of us in this room run business or be a part of some setup, and always the conversation goes like this: hey, why should I buy your product? Oh, you should buy my product because my product has ABC features, which is better than my competition, A1, B1, C1, and so on. Well, that's logic. That doesn't work because much before that, what would work is the limbic part of the brain, which is actually much faster in response because of the science of evolution, because that's much older, that's much more sensitive as a receptor. So therefore, emotion, kind of wins over logic as always. When was the last time you saw an ad from Apple which says you should buy the iPhone from Apple because it has got these features, which is, ABC better than Samsung 7B1C1? No, it doesn't. All that it is trying to win over your emotions is that if you have to use iPhone, you are likely to be the smartest dude, the cool dude in town, as an example. Yeah. So increasingly, you will see that folks who have figured out their whys are really making it big in this world. Any of these statements just resonate with you. For example, Tesla, the famous or the infamous Elon Musk, whichever way you look at it, he's making transportation sustainable. And there are many of these examples, everyday examples, Google, which we have used it. They are organizing the world's information. They are not talking about Google making the best and the biggest search engine in the world. Tesla is not talking about they are making the biggest and the best EVs or AVs in the world. They are making transportation sustainable. That's the reason why they exist. That's their purpose. That's their calling. They never called it purpose and so on. It's not a market positioning statement. It is something that they relentlessly pursue and something, for example, they truly believe in. They are putting dollars at their mouth is. For example, Tesla, if you look at all their patents, they're all, open source. Because he believes that if 20,000 engineers work on those patents, he's going to accelerate his journey towards a sustainable transportation rather than only 20 engineers working on his things. So if you really connect with abundance, people who are purpose-driven, they think that the world is abundant. We are not going to solve the problem by ourselves. There's nothing called competition. The whole industrial age was all about scarcity, it was all about competition. Today it's all about, if the problem is large, the opportunity is large, no one individual, no one corporation is enough to solve that problem. So we better believe in that, and there is business and opportunity for everybody. And that's what each one of these guys truly believe in, and they live by that. Yeah? So this is something, if you really look at these are what we call not just a purpose, but a massive transformative purpose. It's large, it's transformational, it changes something in the society, in the humanity, in the world that we live in. And the world could be the world of Barcelona, the world of Spain, the world of Western Europe, the world of Asia, the world of the United States, or whatever be the world that you believe in. Yeah? So, in order to appreciate this better, we're going to do one small quick exercise. You've got a paper in your hand. You got a piece of paper with you? Okay. If you don't have, just borrow from someone. There are plenty of sheets out here. To appreciate what I'm saying, why is purpose important or taking center stage? Just grab some pieces of paper if you don't have. Please pass it around. Start folding the paper. Keep folding the paper till you can't fold any further. Keep folding. Keep folding till you can't fold any further. Keep doing it. Let's not lose time. Fast. You guys need paper? All right. I'll give you papers. Yeah. Thank you. Keep folding them. Keep folding them. Fold, 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 fold till you can't. Keep folding till you can't. Fast, fast, fast. And give me the count of folds at the point you are stopping, where you can't fold any further. Anyone who's ready? How many folds so far? Yeah, how many? Six. Okay, anyone more than six? Seven. Okay, seven. It's all your test of your fingers and your strength. Alright. So, anyone who's got more than seven?
Seven's a liar.
Seven. Alright. Alright. So, anyone? Let's keep going. Alright. So, let's give out like seven. So, what is the thickness of the paper right now? What is the thickness of the paper approximately? Anyone? Sorry? 5 centimeters? No, not quite. It's about 0.5 centimeter, you meant. Half a centimeter? Yeah, half a centimeter. Anyone thicker than that? Anyone thicker than half a centimeter?
A centimeter.
Alright, half a centimeter. Alright. So 7 folds you were able to make, and it's about half a centimeter, right? Alright. Just imagine you had a big enough paper, and it's on a big enough field or a big enough space, and you are able to make 50 folds. So 7 folds, half inch, half centimeter, whatever. Let's take 1 centimeter, simplified. 7 folds, 1 centimeter, and now you are able to make 50 folds. What do you think will be the thickness now? Give me a sense. What will be the thickness of the paper now? 50 folds, 7 centimeters, alright. 50 folds, and I see some raised hands. Go ahead. Alright. Someone says going to the moon and back, I don't know. I mean, must be crazy answer. Anyone? Anyone?
What's the question?
7 folds, half centimeter, 1 centimeter, 50 folds. Come on. Better than 7 centimeters? Yeah. 7 centimeters. Okay, 7 centimeters. So the range is from 7 centimeters to 5 centimeters to the moon and back. Wow. The right answer is 100 times to the moon and back. I'm not getting into the mathematics of it. Very simple. Thickness of the paper is 0.1 millimeter. Every time you fold, you multiply it by 2, 2 to the power 50. It's a math. It's 100 times to the moon and back. So just imagine, what this means is that this is the power of why things are getting abundant. This is the science behind it, because every domain, every space is now riding on what is called a digital technology. We have all experienced just one technology, information technology, how it has pretty much changed the way we live and we work in the last 20 years. All of us have experienced that. 20 years ago, life was very different. 20 years after, digital has changed everything. So we have experienced just one domain. Just imagine, there are 50 such domains which is growing exponentially like this paper, which we can't see, which we can't feel, which we can't visualize, which our brains really can't get a handle on. That's what is happening. How many of us, in our senses, if I did not know about this paper folding exercise, can then think of 100 times to the moon and back? It's absolutely difficult, it's absolutely crazy. And this is exactly happening to all these domains. It's not just limited to AI, it is not just limited to neuroscience, it is limited to even physical things, as you can see. Whether it is nanotechnology or space science, or the less I talk about AI is better, 3D printing, everything is going at this rate. So what it means is, the prices are falling, the performances are increasing at an exponential space, therefore creating abundance. How good is this abundance if you are not able to leverage the abundance? How good is this abundance? We got to leverage abundance, then only we can use it, and use it for all purpose-driven individuals out here. You guys are all change makers in spirit. Now, if you want to convert your aspirations, something that inspires you from within, into something that really makes that impact, we are going to first look for purpose and then look for what is going abundant and then connect these two. I think it is as simple as that and as elusive as that. So if you really look at all this bundle of technologies, at the end of the day, technology is nothing but a resource liberating force. Any technology that liberated resources for us. Things that were difficult, it was made easy because of technology. Starting from industrial age, the steam engines, to the car engines, to whatever we are doing today, it liberates resources for us. And then we have got so much of methods, tools, the Silicon Valleys, the G methods and all of that, they are making the world more productive, more efficient and all of that. So while everything is there, now how many things in the world don't happen because we did not know it, versus how many things in the world don't happen because we did not want to do it. It is the intent. And that is the most important thing. In my own life, if we really look back, how many things did I not achieve because I did not know something. It was a lack of skill or lack of knowledge or the lack of tools versus I did not have that strong enough desire to make it. Just reflect back on it for a while. You'll get the response. And that reflection will make you feel that something has to therefore come from within. And that is the calling, that is the purpose. Now, how do we have purpose? I think that is going to be the principal conversation of today. Of course, we are 15 minutes down the line, but we will certainly get there. Yeah? All right. So, this is very clear that it is purpose that gives us that exponential power, which is really fundamental to doing that big thing, that bold thing, that exponential thing that you want to do. So it is not enough to run fast. I mean, the industrial age is all about running fast, fast, fast. But we really know the direction. Are we working in the right direction? That's the first question. But the second thing is all about, work hard, work fast, work hard. These are the fundamental things of industrial age for which we were rewarded. Year after year, in my corporate life of 30 years, I can tell you one thing, that we were chasing these two things. Work hard, work smart, work fast, and so on and so forth. Is it really worthy? We have to make sure we're working in the right direction. And that's what is critical today, and which is why purpose is getting more and more important. Because there is so much of noise outside, there's so much of noise. We want to get that crystal clear, that clarity to make sure we are headed in the right direction. So let's watch a quick video as we take a deep dive into purpose. There are subtitles, you will follow. Oops, sound. Oh, okay, we'll be able to follow. There's no sound. Is there some music in the background? So Lifebuoy happens to be the largest soap maker in the world, but they're not making soaps. They are helping every child celebrate their 5th birthday. And how did it all happen? So Salim, who is seated out here, he met with Unilever chairman Paul Polman, and he's got a nice story to tell about it. He talked about purpose-driven organizations, which has created exponential value in his first edition of the book, Exponential Organization. And Paul Polman actually wanted the top brands in Unilever to be purpose-driven, and Lifebuoy is one of them, as you know. And they just happen to be the largest soap maker in the world, but this is really what is driving them. And this is not just about Lifebuoy, but so many other brands of liver. In fact, today, if you look at the top purpose-driven brands of liver, they are contributing about 75% of their growth in revenue and 69% of their growth in profits. So as they say, doing good is doing good business. And this is what the power of purpose is all about, even in a corporation of Unilever's nature. It is not about a business that is just, being charitable and so on and so forth. It is absolutely about commercial organizations which is trying to solve a problem for the world. Yeah. If anything is not clear, you want me to explain, more than happy to, raise your hands and address your question at any point of time. So this is all about the power of a massive transformative purpose, which I talked about. And so this is just one example. There are more examples, but I will just quickly walk you through. If you look at TED, it is powered by the purpose. He never called it purpose. Chris Anderson back in 2003, when he said, we are all familiar, ideas worth sharing. He's sharing the ideas worth spreading, right? Now what did that do? He was all about a few conferences a year, powered speaker, power audience, expensive tickets, that was all about it. But he felt he needed to spread these beautiful ideas, enrich everybody, enlighten the world. And riding on the back of technologies, YouTube just started happening back in 2003. He could do this, and as he did this, he created a community of TEDx volunteers. Now today, if you look at TED, they are actually helping arrange more than 3,000 conferences every year. It doesn't cost them a single penny. Again, riding on the power of purpose. The reason why so many people are gathered today, even in the Festival of Consciousness, is because we are driven by some purpose. It may not be defined in a hard manner as yet, but I'm sure this session will help you do that. I mean, there are people who are traveling from different parts of the globe. I coming all the way from India because I believe so much in it. No one is paying for it. I just truly believe in it, and therefore I'm doing it, right? So similarly, I'm sure so many individuals like you are coming together to really help solve a problem because you want to be conscious about the different issues that's facing the world as an individual and as a collective. Yeah. All right, and this is something I think we talked about already. This is when NASA was faced with a problem, how really Elon Musk really helped them with this space flight that Kevin was referring to, something that had cost at one point of time $1 billion for a flight to the space. He brought it down already to 100 millions and much cheaper now to 50 million, and God knows very soon it will be $1 million for a flight. Again, riding on the backbone of a purpose because it believed in making human species multi-planetary. It is not about a vision of sending men to moon or men to Mars and so on. He believes that someday our Mother Earth will become difficult for human habitation. We need to have a plan B for us. And so therefore, by way of doing this, that's a strong sense of purpose. Google, we all know, they are organizing world's information. This is something, this is really, this is Louis Vuitton. Left-hand side is all about Louis Vuitton that we know. Exclusive, elite, expensive. To something that Virgil Abloh, who was, hired back in 2018, unfortunately he died very young in 2021 out of cancer. And this is how it transformed. If you really look at a brand that was exclusive, he just turned on its head. He wanted to make it inclusive. And it's so different, it's counterintuitive. And if you really look at the stock price moved up 3x in less than 3 years. Because the purpose really helped him do some extraordinary things, starting from finding a great community of followers to something, he was not doing a promotion really, but indirectly it was really promoting his brand. because he stood for something that was all about inclusive, making the world an inclusive place through fashion. Yeah. So I can go on and on, but I will not. This is the Unilever example, but I will just in interest of time. So we can go on, and there are so much of literature today. And the warning out here is, it has become a buzzword today in the industry. There are more consultants who is making money on purpose than so many other subjects in the past 50 years. And that is the word of caution, because they are doing it more as a fashion statement. So there are articles in HBR, there are articles in Financial Times, there are articles everywhere. But what is more important, I want to draw to your attention, is, the biggest asset management company in the world is BlackRock, if you're familiar with that. And Larry Fink, who is the founder chairman of BlackRock, every New Year's Day he sends out a letter to his CEOs, about hundreds of them under his portfolio. For the last 5 years, the strategy at the start of the year he lays out, of course it differs from year to year. There is one thing that has remained constant for the last 5 years. Guess what? He wants the companies to be purpose driven. Otherwise, he's going to pull out his investment from those companies. I think it's extremely critical. Someone who is as mercenary as Larry Fink, he's a New Yorker, Wall Street fellow, the characters. Even they realize that being good in business is extremely important for doing good. So, scores of these things. So, I'm not going to talk about theoretical stuff, but what is important is, it is not a marketing slogan. You got to believe in it. There are people who, of course, using it as a slogan. It doesn't work. We live in a transparent world. If you really say something and don't mean it, you are caught the next minute. It simply doesn't work. So I just wanted to make sure. Now let's say we are all purpose driven. Now purpose, how it helps us to be innovative. A purpose leads to a family of problems, and a family of problems leads to a family of solutions. And that's what is the starting point of all of us who are innovators at heart. We may not be designated innovator, we may not be designated entrepreneur, but all of us are at heart, we are innovators, and in our mind, entrepreneurs. And so therefore, if this is who we are, having a purpose, how it helps. For example, let's take an example quickly. Let's say zero hunger. Who doesn't want that hunger should be eliminated from the world? All of us. So let's say my purpose is zero hunger. Now hunger can be a result for so many different problems. For example, people don't have money to buy food. There is no income. Even if food we have, it lacks nutrition. It is filled with chemicals, pollutions, and so on and so forth. Then there's a distribution issue. It doesn't reach the places where it is badly needed. The different corners of the world, different corners of Spain or any country that you may come from. Now there could be many solutions. For example, I am, let's say, as an entrepreneur, as an individual, I want to solve this problem. Now this can be because of so many different issues. There can be too many middlemen, there's a long supply chain, lack of cold storage in countries like India where I come from, and last mile connectivity and so on. I could actually be dealing with a very, absolutely brick and mortar business of, let's say, cold storage. Make it smart, make it digitally enabled, get the best of technologies and so on, solve the problem of cold supply chain in a country like India, and it is connected with zero hunger. So, by doing a purpose-driven business, it does not always mean I am doing something very charitable, very esoteric, and so on and so forth. No, on the contrary, and as you make some progress out here, you can move from one to the next, and to the next, and to the next problem, and so on and so forth. Just imagine the innovation power that it can potentially unleash for you. It is unthinkable, but just getting to the root is so very important. Yeah? Alright. So what does purpose do at the end of the day? Multiple things. So the question that we wanted to answer was, how is purpose taking center stage? So these are the different ways that I'm calling it out. So purpose unlocks our emotional capital, and of course it amplifies the human potential. That's the fundamental thing, as I said, because there are very few things that does not happen in the world because we didn't have the tools, we didn't have the technology, or we did not have the right knowledge. Things don't happen in the world because we don't have the right intent. Purpose is behind that. Yeah. So it therefore, once you have that, magical things can happen. Money cannot buy a few things that it can, and we have taken examples of that. TED was a beautiful example of that because it is able to align so many stakeholders. Like OpenEXO, the community that, of course, Salim is the head of, and Kevin, who's the chief people officer. Today, we have 20,000 community folks spread across 150 countries in the world. I mean, I could be wrong. There's always last-minute numbers changing. Kevin can correct me, but give or take, that's the kind of number we are talking about because we believe in transforming the world for a better future. So I am aligned because of that, and my individual purpose could be very different, but this is what it is. In business, we are always looking for financial capital because that's what we think is the only capital that is important. Very seldom we leave something which is so important in business, which is the emotional capital, right on the table. It is free. It is free, magical things people can do, but we don't really take cognizance of that. We leave that capital on the table. We all believe in science. Yes, we do. Any of you tell me what is this equation all about? Anyone? Kinetic energy equals potential energy, right? And that pretty much stands even today. This is what I believe is the science behind purpose. The belief, the size of my belief is the mass. The passion is the gravitational pull. And the height of purpose, how tall is your purpose? That decides the velocity of your venture, of whatever you are trying to do. Whatever problem you are trying to solve, it is absolutely directly proportionate to the velocity. So this is the science behind the purpose, I would say. And this cannot go wrong. Finally, before I really leave you with some tips how to find your purpose, let me tell you this. So we all know what an egg is. If we break an egg, what do we get? If we break an egg, what do we get? Sorry? An omelette? We all like omelettes? Okay. So when we break an egg, we get a nice omelette, right? Make an omelette of your choice. This is what I call when we break an egg with an external force, which is a knife or a spoon or whatever. What if we broke that egg with an internal force? What do we get? A new life, a brand new life, a beautiful chick. Now, purpose is that your internal force. You are hacking yourself with that internal force, that energy that really is going to unleash your potential much better than an omelette. It's going to give you a new life. Like I personally feel in the last 5 years, starting with Madrid and now hopefully not completing with Barcelona. The reason why I came to Barcelona was to thank this country because I started my journey here and hopefully in the last 5 years I've been able to do some magical things, hopefully, and helping others, not for me, but helping others to get better at that. So this is what is the power of purpose. Any questions so far before I really let you get some tips and techniques of how do you find your purpose? Anything not clear, anything that you don't agree, challenge. Floor is yours. Come on, go ahead. Yes, please.
I just want to say this.
Yeah.
Is it working? I just want to say this. I think so far it's been absolutely brilliant.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. What's your name?
No.
Thank you.
Anyone have a question?
Sorry. Please go ahead.
Suman, what is the MGH? How does that connect to belief and the other thing? The letters don't match the.
Okay. Now let us. I will tell you. Oh, sorry. Yeah. M is so MGH is half mv square, the potential energy and kinetic energy, right? So in this case, the size of your belief that you believe this got to be done, the pull, the passion that you have, the passion, how the passionate pull, the gravity, and the purpose. The purpose is how big is your purpose is going to decide the V half mv square, the velocity of whatever you are doing. The larger the left hand side, the larger is going to be the right hand side. Yeah. Thanks. Sorry. Go ahead. Sure. Yeah. Sure. We're going to look at that.
Can you repeat the
question, please?
The question is, she runs a business, she would like it to be purpose-driven, but she does not know how to make one. So that's what the next part of the session is going to be all about. Absolutely. Thank you for that. But I had to build the context for it, why purpose is important. So I just have done that, and now hopefully we should be able to look at how to do that, how to have a purpose. There are multiple ways, as I said. It's almost like that elusive type of car in the city of Barcelona you are trying to find. It may not be easy, but you'll get there. You'll get there. Any other question? Anything so far? Anything not clear? Anything you want to comment on? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
I have a method to help people find their purpose.
Great.
But it's another way of seeing things, another perspective.
Sure.
But I am a human design coach.
Sure.
And I use a lot of gene keys and other stuff.
Perfect.
And I believe
Yep.
your soul has chosen this incarnation to learn some stuff and to have a role, to have a purpose. So what I look is your coding, your genetic coding, because that's information that is telling you
Sure.
what is activated, what not, what are you here for. So through human design and other tools, I make people find their role and what they're good for, and tap into that intuition so they can channel that driven purpose or
Brilliant.
exactly. So that would be my answer to how do you find your purpose.
There are multiple ways, I'm sure you got a brilliant way. Thank you. All right. All right, so let's move on. Thank you so much for that. And well, there are multiple ways. Don't get worried about the tools and techniques. As long as we intend to find one, we will get one. So let's look at a few of them. Of course, we can always be great in imagining things, right? I mean, start with these questions and basically the dream that you have always had and so on and so forth. I mean, crazy imagination. What if no one fell ill? Imagine a world where there is no one falling sick. Imagine an education system. If you look at today's education system, it's always a 4-year program or a 2-year program. The duration feels fixed. The learning outcome is variable. Someone has learned a lot, someone could not learn a lot. How about we make the learning fixed and the duration variable? I mean, you can start thinking any which way. So start with those imagining pointers, yeah? Ask 5 whys. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with these techniques of starting with why. So just look at the first why. Let's say you love donating to charities. Or let's say you're already doing something. Ask that why. At the most, on 5th why, you will find and go to the root of it, which touches at the end of the day a human being on ground. So, if you follow these questions, why do you love donating to charities? Because it makes me feel good to help others. Why does helping others make you feel good? Because it brings me a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Why does fulfillment and satisfaction matter to you? And it goes on the way. The last 5th one is, because I believe that we should all strive to leave a positive legacy and contribute to well-being of others. That's my purpose. That's my raison d'etre. That's my ikigai. You call it whatever, whichever language. There can be multiple ways, not that this is the only way, but you can even start with what you are doing and come to the last one. But at the end of it, the one is, it's got to resonate with you. It should then resonate. Oh yeah, really this is what I mean. This really comes from my within. It is not that it looks good. It is not that it sounds good. It is because, yeah, it is really sticking my heart out. I could not express it till now, but it has done so well now through this structured technique. Yep. All right. What will you do from tomorrow you get $1 billion in your bank account today? Again, a hypothetical question, but that's exactly, we are not doing things to run after money. Money is taken care of. Now what do we do? It's a very, very important question. Whatever you're doing, define the end state. If you are successful X years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whenever, it doesn't matter. How would the needle in that space would be moved? What difference would you have made to the world, to humanity, to society, to the world? And when I say the world, it could be the world of Barcelona, Spain, Catalonia, Asia, Africa, doesn't matter, wherever. Yeah? So therefore, ask some of these questions. It will really help you. All right. Are we ready now to, you can do one of the two things. You don't have to necessarily close your eyes. But I'm going to give you a set of questions. I'm going to Talk out those questions, it's also on the slides. Either you don't have to read out your answers, this is answering yourself. You can use your digital device to note them down, copy the questions anytime, but you will get a series of some 15 questions. And once you answer them, you will know where I'm going. And eventually, if you try some of these techniques, it will help you to frame kind of a guideline to finding a purpose. Yeah? Are we ready? You can use pen and paper as well, whatever works. All right. What is a problem in the world that bothers you? Answer it in your mind. Jot it down on the paper or your digital device or whatever. And if anyone wants to share, please by all means. Not compulsion, but anything. Just raise your hand, we'll be more than happy to hear. What in the world that bothers you the most? What do you hate existing in this world? You just hate it. You don't like it. What do you hate existing in the world? It could be anything. It could be whether it's a racial discrimination or the gender divide, or people not having access to food, hunger, famine, wars, climate change, whatever. You kind of really hate it. What do you feel is a great injustice in this world? Something that happens that must not happen, that should not happen. It's a great injustice. If you had 1 hour to live, very hypothetical of course, I can have two choices. Spend the last 1 hour with my loved ones and spend the rest of my, whatever that 1 hour remaining of my life. Or I have a choice to make that in this 1 hour, if I did something, I will solve this problem significantly because I really know some secret sauce and I want to pass it on to the world before I switch off. What would be so important that you would consider it critical to be working on that? Use your feelings. If all these things were to be represented in a color, what color will it be? Whatever that means to you. We are talking for insight, the feeling that you have right now after having, resonated through all these problems, what is injustice in the world. I really want to solve this, unjust space. If it were to be given a color, what would be that color? If it were an animal, what would it be? Where are you feeling it? In your head, in your heart, in your gut, in your hands, in your feet? Where are you feeling it? The problem that gives me a feeling. Do I feel it? Something so intense that I really want to get going and do something about it. Try them in your reflective moments. So this is one set of questions. I will use the second set of questions now. But any thoughts, any reflections so far? Anybody, please? It's all about learning from each other. Not that there is any good answer, not that it has any right or wrong answer. It's my own feeling, my own thoughts, my own reflections. Would anybody like to share? Yeah, please. Someone can give you a mic. What's your name? Sorry. Bruno? Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
So I go over the questions. Okay. So what's the problem in the world that bothers you? People not knowing their purpose and being lost. And what do you hate existing in the world? People wasting their potential, health, and time.
Super.
What do you feel is a great injustice in the world? Teaching our kids the wrong stuff so they become lost and they lose their time and energy. Well, having these questions and answering these questions. If you had 1 hour in your life and you should choose between, what would you do? Sharing the method that I invented and creating the school and the university I want to do. If it was a color, I was thinking more about the solution. So I always think about blue, which is like kind of light blue.
Yep.
What would be the animal? I like the phoenix. You know, you rebirth from the ashes.
Yep.
And where are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? In my, I think it's all over the place.
Okay.
And now I'm running out of questions.
No, that's good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Big hand for Bruno, please. Thank you, Bruno. It's a good point that it's not about whether it's right or wrong, good or bad. It's about this is the way you frame your reflections, and this is going to be very important in pointing to your purpose. Let's look at the next set of questions. I'm going to give you 2 more takes, so this is the next one. So this is about similar but a different set of questions. It's not coming from a problem end, it's coming from a purpose end. What do you really care about and why? What do you really care about? So there's just flipping it around, not coming from the problem space, the injustice space, but I care about this. Why? What would you do if you never have to fail? Failing is good, not that you should not fail. Failing is all about learning. But you really don't want to fail on this particular thing because you really care about it, you want to solve it. That's what it means. What would you do if you could never fail and why? Reflect within yourself and anyone, of course, can share, that would be great. I know Bruno is always there, but if anybody else, please feel free. A question that I asked already. I wish all of you get that 50 million USD today, and even a 1/50th of that will do. And what would you do from tomorrow? 100 years from now, what do you want to be remembered for? 100 years from now, what would you rather be remembered for? Simple question. What looks like what to others, it is just fun for you, it is just play for you. You are in a state of flow when you are doing this, you love doing it, it's your ikigai, it's you are so comfortable at it and so on. What is that thing? Again, if it was a color, what it would be? If it were an animal, what it would be? Finally, the last question, where are you feeling it? In your gut, hands, heart, soul, where? The whole body? Now, look at these 2 sets of questions. The first set was all about the problem space and so on, and this one is a different kind of questions. Which one do you think is more punched with power inside? Which has got more power according to you? The first set or the second set? Which set has got more power, you think, internally within you? Which gives you that more thinking, first or the second? He says second. How many of you would raise hand for second? Second. So second punches in more power. And that's a majority thinking, I guess. It is the purpose. Of course, problem is important to solve, but you have found your purpose and then you go down. It is a lot more from within, the individual that is going to make a difference. and so therefore it is a lot more powerful. All right, the last technique, and this is from many of us in this room are a part of another community called Purpose Alliance. And Purpose Alliance, its founder Francisco Palau, there is a entity canvas, a massive transformative purpose canvas that's also in use. So there are multiple ways to do it, as I said, and MTP canvas is another one. And you can again go into purposealliance.org and you can download its template, work on it, and so on. Let me explain what this template is all about. Again, it's very simple. It is organized by 3 sections. So if you look at the bottom part of it is the hero. The hero means the individual, myself. I'm calling myself the hero, whatever, you yourself the hero. Then what you have is the second part, it's about the world. Again, the problem that the world is faced with, that you want to solve the problem. The hero wants to, the hero is faced with a problem in the world, and he or she wants to really change that through a journey that he or she considers so dear to that individual, and that leads to finding the massive transformative purpose. So let's look at how it is done. So there are basically 9 boxes, as you can see in this canvas. You may not be able to read it, but I am sure I'll be able to simplify this, and you will be able to download this once you go to the site and figure out. First is, the bottom 3 are about the individual. So this one is starting with values, meaning what do I value the most? For example, I value the most love, honesty, and justice. These are the 3 things. There could be 2 more things, 1 less thing, doesn't matter. This is something very dear and close to my heart. Something that I value the most. These are my values. What are my longings? What do I really long for? My longing, something that I hold very dear to my heart, is treat others as you would like to be treated. My philosophy in life. This is my longing, my philosophy, something that I really look to doing always in my life. Second, the third one, it's about your superpower. It's about your ikigai or whatever. Now, in this case, I might say that my ability to communicate, I find it so easy, I love doing it and all of that, and that is what my superpower is all about. So this kind of sums up the hero, the superpower that I have, the values that I cherish, the longings that I have. The next one is about the world. I am drawing my kingdom, what is called the kingdom, the world. Now, what is your space? Now, the space is my society, the society around, the society of Barcelona or Catalonia or Spain or Western Europe, whatever I consider the kingdom in which I would like to operate. And in the kingdom, who are the people that I really want to solve the problem for? Now, the people could be the people who are, like Uno said, who are not able to find their own purpose, or the people could be the people who are not able to have 2 square meals a day, or the people could be who are not able to solve their lifestyles and so on and so forth, whatever it could be. In this case, people without resources, people who are really poor, they don't have access to resources and so on. Challenge. What is their challenge therefore? The challenge is they don't get access to opportunities. So equal opportunities, that's a challenge. I want to solve that. So therefore, this one was the hero, this one was the challenge, and now I'm finding the path to my purpose. So I could say, how do I draw? This is the situation before, this is the situation after. Today, this is my situation. If I live my purpose, it would look like this. It's a barren piece of land. It would look like a lush green full of vegetations and so on once I'm able to solve the problem. So visualize, start with the end in mind. As we always say, starting with the end in mind is very, very powerful. We don't often do that. We just look at the next month, the next quarter, the immediate target, but not look at the ultimate goal of what we're trying to do. So, what I said is better people through education. That's what is my, when I'm successful, I will have better people in Catalonia through education, as an example. Path is all about, tell the story now. Okay, the hero called David, the hero called Diana, and they were doing this, so there is a template for telling your story, sharing your story, what you believed in, what your values were, this you are driven by, and this is something you care for, and you are trying to make a difference, which is about create education materials and use platforms to democratize knowledge, because you are trying to give better education to people. And finally, define your purpose. This is the last one, which is about democratized education. So you can start very small by starting to introduce yourself. Go on to figure out the world that you want to make a difference to, and then figure out what could be your path to making that difference through creation of an appropriate purpose. All right. What do you do when you show up at your work, as in whatever is your work, doesn't matter. On Monday is a question. That's my last question. I leave it for open conversation, and this in itself could be a conversation. Ask me any question or share your thoughts so that we can all learn from each other. Because this is not a perfect science. I've not told you something that is a prescription. Do this and you will get there. I'm sure all of you are full of reflections, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience to share. More than happy to share any of my thoughts and clarify any doubts. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you.